Why the fear? According to some experts, the number one fear of most people in the United States of America is public speaking. Now, normally, what I have done in this course as I've been teaching it over the years is to try to get students to find ways to feel confident and comfortable and well prepared in order to deliver the speech presentations that are required for this class. But also, I want them to think about, preparations that they'll need to make for presentations they'll have to give for other courses, and to find ways in order to feel comfortable, confident, prepared in those spaces as well. And so one of the ways that I would do that in a class that was meeting in person is to engage in the first couple of class sessions in a variety of activities that really allow students a chance to get to know each other and to become comfortable with one another. Because we're meeting online, we won't be able to take advantage of so many of those activities. We will do some of them in our live sessions, but for the most part, you're going to be doing a lot of this work on your own. But nonetheless, even though you'll be delivering your speeches on camera, you will still find that you'll have a certain amount of anxiety, many of you, as you are going into the recording and presenting of your speeches. And so hopefully some of the tips that I'm going to review with you in this video will enable you to feel more confident, prepared, rehearsed, and ready to do those speeches successfully. Okay, so the first on my list is this idea of practicing. There really is nothing that I can do with you over the course of this class that is going to change your feelings about speaking in public if you don't take the time to practice as you're preparing to deliver the speech. So what we have here, practice the speech until you can do it in your sleep. The trick is to know the routine well enough to do it automatically, almost without thinking. And that's not to say that you have it memorized, but that you're familiar enough with the topic that it doesn't require a lot of energy for you to know what you want to say. So one of the mistakes I think that students sometimes make in public speaking is they feel like, oh, well, if I was a good public speaker, I would just be able to memorize this, and then that's going to be an effective approach. But what happens if you forget what you were going to say? Then the memorization is not going to help you anymore, because of course you'll be stuck. Now, as we go through the course, you're going to find that there are a number of things that we'll do that will help you, including having note cards, using visual aids, just as I'm doing right now in this video, which can certainly offer some prompts for you. And note cards can be helpful as well, because you can refer to them to help remind you what it is that you want to say. But none of that is going to replace the need that you will have to actually take the time to go over the speech as many times as you can and to practice delivering it. Ideally, since you'll be recording for this class, you should practice with your camera. Record it, watch the video, see what it looks like. If there's something you don't like, change it. Use the technology. If you have people at home with you, or friends or colleagues who you're able to communicate with, practice the speech with them, ask for their feedback. Those kinds of things are going to help you to feel more confident. The more times you do the speech, the more likely you are to remember what it is that you want to say. And ideally, you just want to talk to us. You don't want to have to read to us. That's the idea, okay? Second on my list here is breathe. Something I need to remind myself to do all the time, okay? So in this slide we have encourage deep breathing, as this can be calming. Breathe in and then hold the breath before exhaling. You should practice deep breathing for several minutes for maximum effect. Now, the example I always use when I talk about this topic is, imagine a woman giving birth, okay? In every single movie or TV show that's going to have a lady giving birth through a baby, they're going to have a video or some moment of her practicing breathing, what that's going to be like. Because of course, when there's a baby coming, you can't start thinking about the breathing. Then it's too late. You have to practice it in advance, or else in the moment, it's just not going to happen, And with public speaking, it's the same, all right? We've got to breathe for two reasons. Number one, as this slide indicates, it's calming. It will calm you down. When you're having anxiety and you're feeling afraid, your heart is going to beat very fast. Your palms might start to sweat. You might feel clamminess in your skin. All of that is an anxious response that the body is having. And it's natural, it's normal. And the only way to stop that is to calm yourself down, to slow the heart rate, and to hopefully bring yourself as quickly as possible back to a state of calmness so that you're able to continue in the speech. And breathing. Breathing is the way to do it, but you've got to practice it in advance. You can't expect that in the middle of the speech you're going to do it, because it's just not going to happen. Then it's too late. You have to practice it before, so that then while you're doing it, it's part of your routine. The other reason that you have to breathe is because when you're giving a speech, you are just talking to the people. And if you are not pausing at moments that you've planned, the audience doesn't have an opportunity to really digest what you're saying. They won't know what's going on. It'll just keep going by very quickly, and they'll lose sight of it. Because we're working with video, you know, if you were watching TV, you could pause it. You could, if you're watching a video online, pause it, reflect, rewind if you need to, step back a few paces, you know, and see what it is that you've missed. But when something is happening live, you don't have that opportunity. So as the speaker, you've got to do whatever you can to help your listener pay attention and make sure that they catch everything that you're saying. So in the chapter that you read for the second quiz, you'll see that they talk about cueing. Okay, so saying things like, now I'm going to say something important here, so listen closely. That's cueing. Okay, so that's important as well, but not as important as breathing. Taking a moment, letting it sink in, and then going on. Okay. Number 3 on our list is focus. Okay, so what I have here is pick an object and concentrate on it. I always like to look towards the back of the room. If I can see the audience members, I might pick a familiar face to gaze at. Picking an object or direction, it gives me something to concentrate on and lets me focus my eyes. You don't want to be looking down, but looking at something that's at eye level is a great way to make it appear that you're acknowledging the crowd, because what we really want is you to make eye contact. Now, of course, you're going to be doing this on video. So what does eye contact mean on video? What does that look like? It's looking into the camera. Okay. Now, the next time you speak with somebody, I want you to make a point of looking directly into their eyes. Now, I'm not asking you to stare without blinking and make them uncomfortable, but to consciously let them know that you're listening by looking into their eyes. The more you become comfortable doing this on a one-on-one basis, the more comfortable you will become when you have to do it in front of an audience. Now, of course, for this class, as I say, we're recording, so you might not have an audience when you're doing your speeches. But even still, looking in the camera can still be very anxiety-inducing, and we need to get over that, you know? I sometimes say, you know, in some families, you grew up in a household where your mother said, "Look at me when I'm talking to you." And other people grew up in a household where their mother might have said to them, "How dare you look at me when I'm talking to you?" We know these people, you know, we know what that's like, and you know what kind of home environment that you grew up with, whether that's a parent or a guardian or whomever you may have lived with as a young person. And so that has an effect on how we navigate the world. You know, it's been pointed out to me that in my family, when we speak to each other, we look in a whole different direction while we're talking. I mean, it's like, what is going on? I'm looking here, the person's over there. I mean, what is this about? It's just how we communicate with each other, because it's what we do in our family. We don't even think about it. And until somebody told me I was doing it, I didn't even know. So it's something that you have to sort of reflect on for yourself. You know, how do I communicate with people? Am I comfortable looking at people in the eye when I'm speaking to them? And if you're not, then what are you going to do about that? Make some practice recordings of yourself. See how you feel staring into the camera. I can tell you 6 months ago when I started doing these videos, I didn't feel comfortable looking into the camera. It seemed entirely bizarre. But as I say, for me and my family, we don't look at each other when we're talking. We look away. I don't know what that's about, but that's how we do it. So I have to be conscious. I have to be focused. I have to be direct. And if I don't remind myself of that, it's not going to happen. Okay? Next on my list is that you've got to energize, okay? Get energized. And one of the best things about performing is watching the crowd get into it and knowing that you're affecting them on some level. Well, we're going to be on video, so there's not necessarily a crowd. So again, I encourage you, if you can get people in your place to be present, somebody to film you while you're doing your speech, it will be better because they'll react. If you say something that's funny, they'll laugh. If something's not working, you'll notice that like you're losing their attention, those kinds of things. When it's just you talking to a camera, it's a little harder to know what's going on. I'm thinking just as I'm recording this, I've talked about these things dozens of times in front of classes, and people laugh and they joke and they respond, they get uncomfortable, whatever it is, I see how they're acting. And right now it's nothing. It's me and my computer screen. But even still, I want to make something that's engaging, that's worthwhile for people to look at. Enjoy the moment. Rather than running from the class or running away from the video camera, make it yours. You can always be in charge as long as you want to be, okay? Number 5 is visualize. And so this is one of the other topics that's covered in the chapter as well, this idea of visualization techniques, right? So here we have learn creative visualization techniques. You should imagine you're delivering your speech and it's going well and the class loves you. Imagination is going to play a big part when we're making videos. The trick is to imagine the scene vividly with colors and precise images. You should do this every day to boost your confidence. So like if I'm making the video, I can't just be thinking about like what I'm looking like, how I'm feeling, what's going on for me in the moment. I have to be thinking about each of you watching this video and making sure that the information I'm sharing is coming across in the way that I want it to. And I've got to visualize that. I've got to prepare myself when I'm thinking about making a video. What is it going to be like, the experience for my listener, for my viewer watching a video, right? And what am I going to do in the video in order to make this as engaging for them as possible? I add a picture, I guess, in my presentation slides. All of those things help. I remember to smile while I'm speaking because that makes people more comfortable, you know? So here's the last in my list. You have got to relax. Do some stretches in the hours before the speech. This will help focus your mind and help to calm you down. Many people hold anxiety in various parts of their body, like in their shoulders, in their neck, you know. You should massage these areas and let the tension go. Remember, the audience wouldn't have shown up if they didn't want you to succeed. Now, that is always true when you're speaking in public. People don't want to be bored. They don't want to be annoyed. They want to have a good time. You're standing in front of them and they want you to do well because otherwise it's going to be horrible. Horrible for you speaking to them. Horrible for them to have to sit there and listen to it, to hope you don't notice that they're falling asleep or checking their phone or whatever they're doing. They don't want that. So you've got to just take that in. They want you to do well. Similarly, when we're recording a video, it doesn't matter. The person who's watching the video has got to sit there through the whole thing. You want them to like it. You watch a movie, you watch a TV show, you know what that's like when they're not good. You spend time on YouTube and watch who knows what, and it's just terrible. You turn it off. You don't want them to turn it off. So you've got to just make it into what you want it to be. And that's going to be good enough. Okay? So let's review. The number one fear of most people in America is speaking in public. And so whatever we can do to try to counteract that, overcome it, we have got to put some skills into practice. We've got to take action, okay, to do what we can. I do warn you, of course, if you are afraid of speaking in public, you will probably be afraid of speaking in public for the rest of your life. It's part of being human. That I said, your heart beats fast, your hands get clammy, your skin might get flushed and red, these sorts of physical responses, you know? It's part of what being alive is. So take that in, accept it. It's part of the experience and go with it. Don't be overwhelmed and don't, you know, allow yourself to be dragged down by it, but expect it. Expect it. Know that it will happen. Some people are very lucky they don't have that response. Good for them. But they're few. For the rest of us, it freaks us out a little bit. Okay, well, I'm alive today. And today I'm going to speak to you. And I'm going to accept all that that means, okay? So we've got 6 tips here for overcoming the fear. They were practice, breathe, focus, energize, visualize, and relax. Remember, It's in your hands.